Breaking news tonight on Capitol Hill, a major defeat for Republicans, caving on Homeland Security funding. Speaker John Boehner today turning to Democrats to pass a bill that fully funds the agency. For the Speaker, it's a total surrender, an admission that House Republicans couldn't win a fight to roll back the president's immigration action. It's a fight he spent weeks claiming he'd already won.
We won this fight in the House.
The House did its work. We won this fight. I'll say it one more time. The House fought this fight. We won this fight.
We won the fight to fund the Department of Homeland Security and to stop the president's unconstitutional actions.
Actually, they didn't win the fight. Today's bill doesn't lay a finger on the president's immigration policies. And today, in a closed-door meeting with House Republicans, Speaker Boehner knew just who to blame, telling them, quote, "Our Republican colleagues in the Senate never found a way to win this fight. But over in the Senate, a different view. Republican Ron Paul says the fight was a loser from the start."
When we get to the DHS, is there a winnable legislative battle? I'm not sure exactly if there is a winnable battle.
For Speaker Boehner, it's the latest ginned-up crisis, bringing the country to the brink of yet another shutdown, once again ending with an embarrassing defeat after too much wasted time. The bill now heads to the president's desk. Joining me now are Michelle Cottle and Lauren Victoria Burke. Thank you both for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Michelle, was this always a question of when Speaker Boehner would cave, not if he would cave?
Well, I think it became pretty clear last week when they couldn't even get a 3-week continuing resolution passed that he had gone into this without a plan. I don't know what they were thinking they were going to do, but, you know, in the past, they've been able to blame this on Senate Democrats. And now that they hold both houses, there's no one really to point a finger at. You know, the Republican Party owns this, and it was a humiliating defeat for the leadership in the House.
Lauren, are Republicans now waking up to the real limits of their power despite controlling both houses of Congress?
You know, who knows? They keep going through this process again and again where they seem to want to prove a point to everybody that they can hold something up or do something to stop the president on a specific policy, in this case, immigration. And it won't happen for them. I'm not sure what the speaker is afraid of. He was voted in as speaker on January 6th by 221 votes. But he keeps seeming to want to go through this process of, I guess, agreeing with his right flank. I'm not sure why. He does have the votes to have a legacy and put some things on the map for his career, and he chooses not to do that, and they just keep losing over and over again. And as you saw, Mitch McConnell knew what was going to happen, which was why he put that clean bill on the floor and sent it over to the House. And if Mitch McConnell could figure it out 3 weeks ago, I'm not sure why John Boehner can't.
Well, you know, Michelle, 167 House Republicans voted against this bill, and you could hear how hungry they were to keep fighting. Listen to this.
The President of the United States violated the constitutional separation of powers.
This is unconstitutional. We all know it. This is the wrong way to go.
The unconstitutional unilateral decisions from the president to ignore our Constitution.
If we vote for that, we're voting against our Constitution.
I believe America deserves better. If we're not going to fight now, when are we going to fight?
I mean, Michelle, they seem to not like executive action when Democratic presidents do it. Clearly, they just don't get it. But has Speaker Boehner finally learned his lesson on fighting these doomed battles, do you think, Michelle?
Look, he's very committed to trying to throw the conservative chunk of his conference a bone. But at this point, you know, Mitch McConnell warned all of the House members at the retreat several weeks ago that there are limitations to what can get through the Senate. And all that happened was that a conservative bloc took it as a challenge and were like, we're going to ram this through regardless. There seems to be a fundamental kind of lack of understanding of how the government actually works.
I mean, it does seem to be a lack of understanding, Lauren. I mean, you just heard some of those far right congressmen that just don't get it. Is this the problem that Boehner's having to deal with? Or, I mean, they just seem to be oblivious to the reality of what their limits of power are.
That's exactly right, Rev. I'm not sure why he keeps doing that. What we just saw, to quote your hero, James Brown, is a lot of talking loud and saying nothing. They huffed and they puffed. They held things up for a while. But in the end, Nancy Pelosi boxed them in. She basically created a situation where she would only pass what she had the votes to help them with. And she played them. And she played them like a fiddle. She played them well, and she won. There's no other way to say this. That's why you see the Speaker doing this on the day that Benjamin Netanyahu is here. So this can be sort of buried in the news cycle. It's pretty obvious what he just did, but it's a big loss for them, plain and simple.
You know, Michelle, time and again, House Democrats have rescued Speaker Boehner from embarrassing failures when most Republicans wouldn't go along with them. In 2013, 172 Democrats helped him avoid the disastrous fiscal cliff, and 179 Democrats helped pass a Hurricane Sandy aid bill. In 2014, 193 Democrats helped end the debt ceiling fight. And today, 182 Democrats voted for Homeland Security funding. I mean, is this the new normal, that Democrats step up as the adults in the room when Republicans refuse to govern? Is this what we're looking at in the future here?
I mean, I do think that the Speaker has a problem in that a chunk of his conference clearly has no interest in helping out leadership achieve anything. I mean, they've made their displeasure with this leadership very clear, and they think that everybody is selling out. So I'm not sure kind of how this situation gets better. I mean, Boehner is very adept at kind of like going in there and trying to kind of show them how things don't work in the hopes that they can get something done. But I do not see this getting better anytime soon.
What does this mean, Lauren, for the Democrats going forward? What opportunities are there in this?
Well, you know, the Democrats, of course, control neither house. But at the end of the day, they really have to just sit there and wait for the Republicans to implode, which seems to happen on every one of these episodes. It's really incredible to watch because you're only really talking about 24 to 30 Republicans at the end of the day. But frankly, Nancy Pelosi plays a better political game than the Speaker. I mean, what we just saw was a pro Nancy Pelosi beating the Speaker at this and beating him handily. So I don't know. You know, they, of course, don't control the House, but when you have somebody who's savvy and knows how to wheel and deal like former Speaker Pelosi, she can basically just wait for them to make a bad move and then make and win off of that move.
All right, Michelle Cottle and Lauren Victoria Burke, thank you both for your time tonight. And Lauren, it's always refreshing to hear someone quote James Brown.
I hear you, Rev. Thank you.